The Supreme Court is ordering Vice President Sara Duterte and lawyer Israelito Torion to submit their comments on the House of Representatives appeal seeking to reverse the court's July 25 ruling. In its order, the Supreme Court is giving Duterte and Torion 10 non-extendable days from receipt of the notice to comply. The High Court on July 25 declared the impeachment complaint against Duterte unconstitutional for violating the one-year bar rule. The SC laid down in its July 25 ruling a 7-point guideline to ensure fairness in impeachment proceedings. These include providing the respondent with a copy of the articles of impeachment and the supporting evidence, as well as granting reasonable time to respond. In its motion for reconsideration, the House of Representatives argued that the impeachment process should not be burdened by requirements and technicalities not explicitly stated in the Constitution. While the House acknowledged that due process must be observed, it emphasized that the Constitution already guarantees due process through the Senate impeachment trial. The House pointed out that under the Constitution, the single act to trigger transmittal to and eventually trial in the Senate is the filing of a complaint backed by 1/3 of the House membership. On February 5, Duterte was impeached after 215 House lawmakers from the 19th Congress filed and signed a fourth complaint. The complaint was based on allegations of misuse of confidential funds in Duterte's offices, threats against ranking officials, and other possible violations of the Constitution. The first 3 impeachment complaints against Duterte did not leave the House of the House Secretary General. The Impeachment Court spokesperson Attorney Reginald Tongol says the continuation of impeachment proceedings against Vice President Sara Duterte is now in the hands of the House of Representatives. In a radio interview on Tuesday, August 5, Tongol says there's no evident movement from the lower chamber yet in complying with the impeachment court's order. The impeachment court on June 10 decided to remand the articles of impeachment to the House of Representatives. The impeachment court also directed the lower chamber to certify that it did not violate the Constitution for allegedly initiating more than one impeachment complaint in a year. The court told the lower chamber to communicate whether or not the 20th Congress is willing and ready to pursue the impeachment complaint against Duterte. For Tongol, the ball is not with the Senate but with the House, who has yet to fully comply with the order. The House already submitted the first required certification. However, it is yet to submit the second certification, which directly concerns its willingness to pursue the complaint against the Vice President in the 20th Congress. Tongol says there is a need for the lower chamber to authorize House prosecutors that enter an appearance in the impeachment court. The Supreme Court recently ruled that the articles of impeachment against the Vice President are constitutional for violating the Constitution's one-year bar rule. The House of Representatives then filed a motion for reconsideration, appealing that the High Court reverse its ruling. Meanwhile, Senate President Chis Escudero said senators will decide on the Supreme Court's ruling and tackle how to move forward with the impeachment case on August 6. Impeachment Court spokesperson Attorney Reginald Tongol says there is a possibility that the impeachment proceedings against Vice President Sara Duterte will not die on August 6. In an interview on Tuesday, August 5, Tongol says senators are now preparing for the impeachment debate that they will hold on Wednesday, August 6. He lays out possible scenarios for the Senate plenary session on Wednesday. He says many questions came out of the Senate's caucus. According to Tongol, there will also be discussions on whether or not the Senate will abide by the Supreme Court's ruling. The Supreme Court earlier declared articles of impeachment against Duterte unconstitutional for violating the one-year bar rule. He says senators will also consider the contents of the House of Representatives' motion for reconsideration. With this, Tongol says there will most likely be senators who will move to defer the voting on the floor and wait for the High Court's decision on the lower chamber's motion for reconsideration. Earlier, Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva says the only agenda for Wednesday's regular session is their discussion on impeachment matters. Senate President Pro Tempore Jinggoy Estrada says 19 to 20 senators believe they should abide by the Supreme Court's ruling prohibiting the Senate from proceeding with the impeachment trial against Duterte. President Bongbong Marcos officially announces the Philippines' strategic partnership with India, marking the country's 5th official strategic ally. Marcos is currently in India for a state visit until August 8. In a press statement on Tuesday, August 5, Marcos says the relationship between the two countries has entered a new era after witnessing the exchange of bilateral agreements.
Today, our relationship enters a new epoch as Prime Minister Modi and I formally launched the strategic partnership between Philippines and India. For the Philippines, this is a momentous decision, for we take a very considered path to such elevated partnerships.
The president says this development is a testament to the rapid growth of the Philippines and India's 75-year-old bilateral relationship. Marcos says the Philippines and India will continue to elevate their partnership in areas of defense and security. To facilitate this, the president says the two countries will establish mechanisms for service-to-service talks, information sharing, and training exchanges between militaries. Marcos also invites Indian tourists to visit the Philippines, highlighting their visa-free entry privileges. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi introduced a scheme allowing Filipinos to visit India without a visa. Marcos earlier Tuesday expressed excitement in exploring new opportunities with India.
I think it is a reaffirmation of the alliance and the partnership that we are strengthening, and to build upon what we already have had, but to certainly to explore the many opportunities that have arisen in the past few years because of the new technologies and the changing state of the global economy and the geopolitics around us now.
A maritime expert says the Chinese research ship recently spotted off Babuyan Island may have collected intelligence data while in the area. The Philippine Coast Guard spotted Chinese vessel Xiangyang Hong 05 some 50 nautical miles from Babuyan Island on Saturday, August 2. Maritime expert Ray Powell says the Chinese research vessel slowed noticeably while in the area, indicating it might have been collecting intelligence. The PCG earlier challenged the presence of the Chinese research ship but did not receive a response. Powell notes that Xiangyang Hong 05 transited the Philippines' exclusive economic zone through the Luzon Strait in June before conducting a 40-day survey east of Guam. It then returned through the Luzon Strait last week. Luzon Strait is a crucial passage that connects the Philippine Sea with the West Philippine Sea. Beijing's continued incursions in maritime areas beyond its coasts is based on its assertion of sovereignty over almost the entire South China Sea, including the West Philippine Sea. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.